What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. My name is Splattercat, and once again today we are playing Expeditions Conquistadors. And so where we had left off, we had finally liberated Hispaniola from all of its major issues. Honestly, we came in there like a ridiculous problem solver. We were the Imperial Fixer, or I guess at least His Majesty's Fixer, to take care of business there. We killed all the rebels, we slaughtered everybody. There are very few dissidents left alive, and so now it's time to head to the mainland. We're gonna do Tijuana, we're gonna go to Puerto Vallarta, we're gonna do the whole touristy thing, just looking for all kinds of crazy treasure. But before we do that, the game lets us choose if we want to bring more people on board, and in fact it allows you to pick from some people who weren't here from before. Actually, I don't actually remember some of the portraits, so I think some of the people are new. However, the problem with that lies in the fact that none of them are leveled up or upgraded, so I really think these are kind of last-ditch efforts if you lost people, so you can have casualties. I think that if people actually died while you were on Hispaniola, this gives you an opportunity to re-flesh out your party. But I think we're good to go, to be honest. I don't really want to bring anybody else on board because I feel as though we've got a pretty good team going right now. The only temptation I have is to bring another scout, which I know will make some of you grit your teeth, but I like them. I can't help it. I love them. They are just amazing. I like them a lot. They're just all zippy and they run around all fast. They're kind of like the scouts in TF2. I really just like having them around because they just run all over the place, cause problems, cause distractions, and so forth. But I'm not going to do it because I know I'd have to fire somebody to bring somebody else on, and at this point I'm pretty attached to just about everybody in the group, even the people who have their quirks, i.e. Ibarra, who seems to just be dead set on just breaking my will and just making me deeply depressed. I still like to have her around because she's been there since the beginning. So without further ado, let's click our little begin key and see if they give us any type of cinematic.
At long last, we could leave Hispaniola and make for the mainland. As we boarded the ship and looked out over the sea, the dark and mysterious shore beckoned to us. Though we dare not speak it, we felt our trials so far were just a taste of what was to come. As we neared the coast, a terrible storm rose up and battered our ship. Desperately, we attempt to reach the safety of the shore, but tragedy struck. 3 of our friends were lost to the reef, and we were forced to return to the ship. When the winds finally faded and the hot sun reappeared, we rowed to shore. We were racked and weary, but we had arrived.
Alright, and so it looks like we've made a port. Now I apologize, I had to do a quick edit right there, just in the... Basically, just to be transparent, I just want to let you guys know I made a cut right there because for whatever reason, with fraps running, the game wouldn't actually make it through the cutscene without crashing, and so there's a little bit of overdubbing done there, but luckily there's nothing released or nothing lost. So here's our ship right here. We rode our way to shore, not on a horse, but on a boat, using multiple words. But anyways, we need to go to this little, I don't even know if these are Tainos anymore. These are probably not Tainos, but it says that it wants me to go here, so that's where we're gonna go. Let's be on our way. It says, from the site where you landed in your boats, you can see a village among the leafless trees of the swamp. Smoke rises lazily from a campfire, and as you come closer, you spot a group of villagers gathering at the periphery of the village to observe your arrival. They appear to be unarmed and overall harmless. Enter the village. You lead your caravan carefully into the village. The tribe seems peaceful. They even bow as you approach. Let's ask who the chieftain is. I mean, we can ask the chieftain if any of our people arrived here. One of your servants relays your question to the gathered tribesmen. An elderly native woman with a large amount of ornaments piercing her skin steps forward. I am Caravan, chief of this village. We'll introduce ourselves first before we get down to business. Have you come searching for the ones who fell into the sea? Yes, we have. She nods and motions for 2 young women of her tribe to come forward. She says something to them, and they rush off to one of the larger huts. Shortly, they reappear with Gabriela Ibarra and Rafael Lopez in tow. I wouldn't have really cared about Lopez. I don't really plan on using him for anything other than passive roles like hunting during the day, but Ibarra would have been a bit of a letdown. She's our local heartbreaker, so what can you do? That's basically her nickname at this point. Like, if we were in Top Gun right now, on her helmet it would say Heartbreaker. Have you been harmed? Where is Barreto? Lopez salutes you with a smile and he's done hugging his friends. Worry not, Capitan del Splatter, we've not been harmed. And what of Barreto? Julio was struck with a cold after our little dip in the water last night. He'll be fine in a few days. Your servants are directed towards a hut in the back of the village, from which they return with Julio Barreto on a stretcher. The scholar does look a bit weak, but otherwise uninjured. Tayacapan, watches your reunion with a warm smile. Will you feast with us, El Gato del Splatter? Of course, who would turn down a super rockin' feast? But I hope there's stuffing. Is there stuffing? Teyacapan is joined by the other elders of the tribe, and you and your people are taken to the center of the village where a meal is prepared. When the food is served, Teyacapan sits next to you and strikes up a conversation. You are not like the last shining ones that we met. Felipe Gutierrez's expedition came here? She looks uncertain. Tell me about the last shining ones you met. 10 seasons ago, we saw their ships sail down the coast, and many suspected that they were gods. Several days later, they came here. They were too many to count, many times the population of my tribe. They were very aggressive, and they took some of our people with them. We haven't seen our tribesmen since. We'll apologize for that because, you know, we need their help. This is the first village we've come across. We want to stay on their good side. In fact, we may just lie and say we're Belgian or something. You owe us no apologies, El Gato del Splatter. What other tribe? Well, let's ask where the other expedition went. They traveled to the northwest, away from the coast, and into the heartlands. There was talk of establishing some form of outpost there. What other tribes live here? My tribe shares this swamp with a tribe of pearl fishers. Their home lies to the south down the coast. My people never leave the swamp beyond the western mountains. There are too many dangers. The pearl fishers trade with the peoples in the west, however. Perhaps they will be able to tell you more. So we'll finish our meal and retire. You and your people spend the night on the outskirts of the village. Your troops keep to themselves, and so do the villagers. The night passes without incident. Next morning, you find Teyacapan again while your servants are packing up the camp. We have plenty of food and medicine for your journey. Would you trade with us before you leave? Sure, let's trade. So we've got 172 equipment. How did this happen? Wow, we have a lot of equipment. Maybe it unequipped everybody. That's the possibility that I'm going to lean towards. Now, we've got enough rations. We've got more or less everything we need. So for the time being, I'll probably swap out some valuables for some equipment. But beyond that, we'll probably just carry around most of this stuff with me. Now, normally I would like to swap out the valuables because the valuables tend to get stolen a lot. But for the time being, I think what we'll do is we'll hold on to them until we get to the Pearl Fishers village because I don't really know what's going to be available there. So we'll leave now, and let's go ahead and check our equipment. Oh, it unequipped everybody. That's pretty much what I had assumed. So let's get everybody equipped that we wanted to. And there we go. We'll give our doctor his equipment back. He's not really going to be shooting or anything like that, but I'll come back if I have equipment left over after I equip all of the vital people. So Pintado, my dear, dear friend, we are going to kit him out like crazy. So Pintado needs to be doing as much damage as possible while at the same time being very, very armored. Everybody else, let's see here. Who else is coming along? Vidal, obviously, because she's my favorite. Whatever people may say, she may be slutty, she may be around the camp every single evening, but she's still my favorite character. It's okay. Her moral vices, I don't judge. I let it go. Nobody likes a judgmental asshole anyways. So let's go with Bernardo Trevino. I believe I had him kitted out as well. So we'll go ahead and give him all the equipment that he desires, get him nice and geared up. Ortega, definitely, because he's our Rocky Balboa, or our Mike Tyson, with less ear-biting action, I suppose. Or maybe, if you really wanted to be optimistic, he could be our Muhammad Ali, but with a sword. And if there could be anything more terrifying. I've seen Muhammad Ali box on several occasions. Like, I've watched those old reels, because I do like boxing quite a bit. If you watch my beast boxing video, I was trying to remember the name of the game, my beast boxing video, I talked about that, but I do enjoy boxing, and Muhammad Ali, that guy is like a ghost. That guy is just ridiculous when you watch him fight. It's unfortunate that all those punches to the head left him kind of quivery and somewhat less than compos mentis, I guess would be the word I'd go for. Now, let's see, who else did I have? So Alvarado, Pintado. Let me do a quick count here. I'm not so good at it. 4, 5, and who was my other person that I brought along? I can't remember now. Was it Martinez? I think I brought 3 warriors, yeah, but I may actually start bringing... I don't like the halberds. I actually prefer the sword and shield guys. It's a little bit of a letdown, I know, to some of you, but I've heard good things about the people with the glaives. Obviously, they hit a lot harder, but at the same time, let me see what the difference is in defense. It's a 5% defense difference. Oh, that's not much. I'll just keep Martinez on board. Never mind. I was thinking about swapping her out for Paulik, but unfortunately, I just don't think that's going to be a good idea, especially since it's going to take me a reasonable amount of XP just to get him back on board. So I think that's pretty much everybody. I think we're good now. And so let's have some adventures. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. So I will say that if my clicks are somewhat inaccurate today, it's because I had to swap out for like a $10 mouse. My gaming mouse, my ridiculous like 27 trillion DPI mouse that I use to play Tribes of Sin and all those games that require like ridiculous precision to hit like a single pixel on screen, unfortunately broke on me. My left clicker no longer works, so I had to grab a replacement mouse. I had to borrow it, and it's getting the job done, but for the time being, it's been a little bit of an adjustment. You go after playing with a high-end gaming mouse for a long time to playing with like a normal laptop mouse that's just used as a backup, and unfortunately it takes a bit of time to get used to the lack of accuracy. I feel like the mouse is skipping frames and things like that. I think it's like teleporting around the screen. It doesn't feel quite as smooth. But anyways, enough of my bitching and moaning. Nobody came here to hear that. And so Barreto is wounded. I'm going to assign myself. Vidal is obviously going to be back on patrol duty. We do need to reassign everybody, make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. We have a great guard force right now, so between Laszlo and everybody, I don't think we're going to have to worry about having too many problems as we go forward guarding. We've only got like a 10% chance of just like a terrible instance. We can go fishing, actually, which is an interesting option. Maybe I'll take Martinez. Yeah, Martinez, go fishing. And so we had a contextual quest here. Maybe we'll find something interesting. And so let's camp for the night. Oh, we have to assign food. That's right. I forgot the first time. Nobody has food. And so let's give everybody the food. We have to check our box for auto allocate new meat, obviously, because we don't want people around letting the meat spoil. We want to make sure that everybody has meat in their mouth every single night. It's going to be like a ridiculous brothel up in here, and then we will camp. There we go. And so we lost 8 medicine, but Barreto recovered. We found 6 meat from fishing, 2 meat from hunting. We got 4 medicine from a dead corpse, and everybody ate their food and everything's fine. So let me take a look at my quest log right now, because I'm having trouble deciding which direction I want to strike out in. And so let's take a look here. Oh, really nothing. So I guess we just get to wander for now. They said to the northwest, and so that's facing north right now with the camera, so this would be northwesty, sort of. And so let's see if we can find anything out this way. I don't know if there's going to be any of those little cairn quests or anything of that nature. There probably will be. I wonder if our tinkering reset as well. That's something else that I'd like to kind of think about. Let's go ahead and take a look at our tinkering. Did it reset? Our inventions? No, our inventions are constant. And so now that our good friend is back up and running, let's go to our... Okay, the contextual stuff is all gone, so let's reassign Rita Martinez to guarding and auto-allocating new meat. Okay, good. But what I would like to do is take our wounded member and have him get started with some of the traps we're going to need. Now, we used a bunch of spike traps in those final battles. A little bit of a letdown there, but it's okay. We don't have the materials we need for a lot of stuff. We could make some caltrip traps, although I don't really buy into those. So what I'll do is I'll have him start with... Actually, let's upgrade him first. So we will go to our camp menu, or I'm sorry, our expedition menu. And there's Barreto right there. What we'll do is we will upgrade him to a veteran, because we need him to have 10 so that we can give him the advanced cart ability. And so while I'd love to put somebody that's going to be in combat up to sergeant, unfortunately, we really need him to have maxed out tinkering at the bare minimum so that we can get some things done. Other than that, I think what we'll do is we'll go for a... Let's see. We'll do walk your shots, just in case we ever end up using him, because he's only going to be useful in ranged. Walk your shots means that you gain a little bit of extra accuracy every time you miss. So his tinkering is maxed out now, and then he's got a reasonable herbalism score, and that's probably where he's going to stay for the rest of the game. I'm not going to say that's absolutely what's going to happen, but it may. Now, we need to rest, so let's go ahead and camp for the eve. And it looks like we're going to have a bit of drama. And so... Your Sergeant Vidal politely pulls you aside after dinner to have a talk with you in private. Hopefully not the same private talk she's been having with the other gentlemen in the camp, because honestly, I think most of them are like syphilitic. They've been looking weird, they're like twitchy, they've got some strange rashes, and I don't need that kind of trouble right now. Look at that mustache, I'm too gorgeous for syphilis. Anyways, there is something we must discuss. It concerns Juan Ortega and Gabriela Ibarra. What's going on? I've noticed they've been spending a lot of time together over the last few weeks. I wanted to make sure it was nothing sinister, so I've been keeping an eye on them. Well, it was just a romantic affair. Juan has been visiting Gabriela's tent in the evenings, but it occurred to me that I'm not sure whether you allow that sort of relationship among the members of our expedition. Well, let's go ahead, and I have to be honest, I don't really know if the game takes into account the answer I gave her earlier. It doesn't sound like it does, but in the interest of being a moral, ethical human being, I have to impose the same rules on some of my party than the others, so I'll talk to him. Anna makes herself scarce, even though she's being a little bit of a snitch. And you know what they say about snitches. I don't think anybody, even good people, don't like snitches, but she's a sergeant, so I guess she's in charge. This is more of a work-related complaint. Anna makes herself scarce, and you seek out the two lovebirds. You find them at a nearby stream, washing their cutlery conspicuously close to one another. Ortega and Ibarra, a word in private. They look at each other with some concern, but they immediately put aside their cutlery, dry their hands, and follow you out of earshot of everyone else. We've noticed you're romantically involved. Gabriella's face drops visibly. Juan simply nods sternly. It's true, Captain. We're in love. We have been for weeks. I wish you didn't feel you had to keep it a secret. I'm not going to say they have to ask me for permission, because that seems a tad totalitarian. It seems a little bit over... I mean, I don't want to get too big for my britches, because then you got to buy new britches, and pants are expensive. I had to buy pants a while back, and they were really expensive. But anyways, we weren't sure how you'd react. Let's see... Yeah, I'll just let him do it. I like Juan Ortega. I don't want to make him grumpy because he's my guy. He's my homie. He's been holding it down on the front lines, and I need him to continue doing it. And he says, "Thank you, Capitan. I know I just went back on what I said. I know that I'm being a giant hypocrite right here. You can get back to your cutlery." But honestly, I'm looking out for the pragmatic solution here, since I think both... No, Ibarra's not in my normal combat group, but she is in my second wave. But Juan Ortega is a mainstay of my group, so I want to keep him happy at all costs. And so there's that. Let's go grab these herbs up here, and let's continue our adventuring. And so now, I should have assigned last night. I should have told... Oh, we got what looks like a attacker here. And so let's make it easy on him. Let's do it, guys. Traveling through the swamps, your people are struggling not to get stuck in the mud. You catch a glimpse of movement between the dead, leafless trees ahead. Well, Scout, sorry, Capitan, it's impossible to see anything through the mists of the swamp. There's somebody out there for sure, but how many and who are they? We'll form up. You pick a squad of followers and cautiously advance through the swamp. Soon you see a group of tribals between the trees, ready to face your attack. Well, I didn't want to attack them. I just wanted to be safe. Better safe than sorry, but it looks like we're going to have to go with that in either case. And so why is Barreto lined up as one of my people? Usually it sorts by... Oh, it's sorting by rank. I thought it was sorting by equipment. Okay, well, that's a little unfortunate. We're going to have to kind of get that sorted out, but I think we've got all the right people selected. So, onwards! Let's do this thing. Form up! And so, hopefully this isn't one of those 12 versus 3 battles. Those are always loads of fun, especially when they happen randomly. But this is going to be our first taste of the mainland and the combat we may be up against. So let's take a look at what they've got. Looks like 6 units, unless there's anything swinging wide. Got any guards out on the sides there. Just recruit, man-at-arms, another recruit. No veterans or anything, so this should just be like a mop-up job. Let's go ahead and, honestly, I'm not even going to wait for them to come to me unless... How many ranged people do they have? Looks like they've got 2 ranged people. Maybe I'll let them come to me then. We've got a nice strong line already made, so I'd like to get them to the range where I can advance on them. It looks like we've got some unique little paths sort of running in between all of the swampy areas, and so I guess we'll have to plan our battle a little better. I probably should have set up lines along those, but I wasn't really paying attention. You guys know, I'm not an amazing strategist. Honestly, I don't really know where I want this fight to take place. I know that I want to be able to extend a full line, so maybe I'll line up over here, maybe? Let's take a look. And so, honestly, if we can get people spread out that far, I think that's probably a good idea. So let's go ahead and we'll use our full movement here just to make sure that we've made some nice, coherent lines. We want to make sure that everybody is in a nice, ordered arrangement. There we go. And then what we'll do is we'll put our... Ooh, there's a tree right there, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and keep these gents back, and we'll see what we can bait out of these guys. I feel as though they're probably going to try and run through the center right here, so we'll see what happens. But the AI can be tough to predict sometimes. Sometimes the AI likes to make foibles and mistakes. You've seen it, I've seen it. On occasion, they like to eat themselves some attacks of opportunities, so just nom 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 right in my face is what they say to me. And luckily it looks like they didn't take the bait. I was a little worried they might swarm around some of my units right there. And so there's that attack of opportunity I was talking about. And so all of that for 22 damage. She just traded about 50 damage, or a little bit more maybe, for a very less than satisfactory amount of damage. So what we can do over here is can you make that shot? 79% accuracy. And she made the shot, so that saves me a little bit of trouble during this next turn. I think what I should do is I've been debating whether it's worth it for me to be using lanterns quite as much as I think I would normally. And because lanterns seem to be a little bit of an exploit, they definitely seem to need some work to be done. Does he have a knife out right now? Has he got his shiv? Good. Shanky shanky. There we go. And so shanky shanky shizawi, all over and done with. And now for the next turn, I think what I shall do is get everybody sort of lined up in these odd little fronts. I don't really like the arrangement of my troops right now, but we're going to live with it for the time being. And I am going to encapsulate my doctor because I don't want my doctor taking any unnecessary hits. This warrior is a little overextended. It would be a little bit better if he had the smoke bomb trait, and yeah, that may have been a mistake on my part, but I was just chomping at the bit to get an attack off right there, so I suppose I'll live with it. Now we are going to have to come to his rescue here, so let's go ahead and even the score right here, and I guess we'll focus on the doctor. There we go. So he was able to one-shot the doctor. That worked out great. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I don't really like the arrangement of my troops right now, but I think we can get to him before he actually takes any amount of substantial damage. And because he's got the sneak ability, I think what I'll do is sneak and then step up to there. And so we avoided attacks of opportunity using sneak. And what that's going to allow me to do is step my adductor forward and shanky shanky, down you go. And so we've got 2 enemies left. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. And we've actually got a flank on this guy. It's just all kinds of nasty for this native right here. We'll shoot him in the back. Probably like an 82% chance to hit right there. I've been kind of paying attention lately to how much the shots have so that I can avoid just being like, I hate this game all the time. And so, is that a double shot? It was a double shot. And so, oh god, we need to end this now. Doctor! We need a medic. We need a medic like right now. And so let's step these units forward first to eliminate the possibility of ranged attacks. Because we all don't like those. Ranged attacks, those are the attacks of the cowardly or the intelligent who don't want to get their face sliced off with a sword. Whichever way you want to look at it, what we'll do is we'll cure him up nice and quick. And I'm actually really enjoying. I'm glad I took you guys' advice and decided to start bringing a doctor along. I think they really do mature in a way that's superior to a lot of the other classes. Take a shot right there for 32 damage. And who do we have left? There we go. Martinez hasn't moved, and so we'll surround this last ranged guy. And I think that's going to be it. So with Bloodlust, we got 58 damage out there, and that should be the last attack of the round, leading us to a flawless victory. And so no injuries sustained. Back to our beautiful little pre-drawn, hand-drawn little cutscenes, although I noticed they zoomed in on some of the sidebar things. But anyways, we stand victorious. The tribals broken at your feet and writhing in pain from their injuries. We'll search them and take their stuff. And your people go over the dead and injured tribals and return with several valuable trinkets, a length of rope, and a little medicine from the shaman's pouch. We can kill the survivors or we can stabilize the survivors. Since we kind of advanced on them, I guess we'll stabilize them because honestly, I know what the result is going to be right here. I don't really know what the result is right here, and since we've got so much medicine, why not? Let's see what happens. And so we're going to be merciful. You order your people to administer basic treatment to the enemies, just enough to assure their survival, then you're ready to be on your way. Oh, well, nothing then. I guess that really didn't serve as any purpose. Let's go ahead and we'll finish out one last turn before we end this episode, but we'll see what we can find here. We're still sort of heading to the northwest. Hopefully we'll find ourselves a little village here. In fact, we should probably look at our map. That might be the most effective way to do it. And so we've got a point of interest right there. We've got a nice little kind of lagoon going on right there. And that looks like a village, so let's go ahead. And we'll be on our way to the village. I would loathe to start any new storyline elements or another fight at this point because then the episode would just go ridiculously long, but I think this is a good spot to break off. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here in the Nerd Castle for what is turning into a lengthy LP. I'm glad you guys, thank you very much, by the way, for throwing your voices in on the last episode. I was glad to hear that you guys are still interested in the series because it's really hard from my end to tell who's interested in what anymore, whether interest is dying off, and so it really helps me when you guys make comments and let me know what you want to see with the channel. Since most of the time I am pleasantly neutral, I like to go with the democratic approach and let you guys pick what happens here at the Nerd Castle. So that out of the way, I'll see you guys next time. It was a lot of fun, and take care out there, everybody.